Hello, I'm Anne Riddell, and this is Science and You. One of nature's most amazing inventions is muscle tissue. It's incredibly soft, but can take on some tough tasks. Now researchers at Columbia University are using some simple materials and combining them to mimic our muscles in a lab. Andrew Falzon has more on their groundbreaking work.
What we've developed here is a new kind of material that's essentially a synthetic muscle.
Dr. Hod Lipson runs the Creative Machines Lab at Columbia University School of Engineering. It's filled with devices that look like they could star in a Hollywood sci-fi pic, but the lab's latest creation is a first step toward recreating one of nature's most amazing organic devices, muscle tissue.
In fact, a muscle sounds like a sort of pretty obvious thing to make, but if you actually look at this whole area of soft robotics, robots that are soft, there hasn't been a soft muscle up until now that's actuated with electricity.
While the science behind the artificial muscle is a bit complex, the muscle itself is actually easy to make, and its creator, postdoctoral researcher Aslan Miriev, mixed up some of it for us in the lab. It's made of alcohol and silicone mixed in parts A and B, coming together to create a smart material that Miriev says is 3 times stronger than natural muscle.
Up until probably a month ago, there hasn't been like a material like this, so now we have the material.
One of the important things about this is that it's a material. So if I take this actuator and I cut it in half, it will still work. It's not a piston. If you take a piston or any other device, a motor, you cut it in half, it doesn't work.
But how exactly does the muscle work? The mixture of the silicone and alcohol creates tiny bubbles inside the soft structure that are so small they can't be seen with the naked eye. Low voltage electricity does the rest.
The electric current passes through, it creates heat, so this is like a small resistor. And that resistive heat causes the tiny bubbles to basically evaporate.
We got to see the artificial muscle in action, lifting a 1 kilogram weight, and while we had to double the speed of the video to show you a noticeable result, Miriev says they're already working on ways to improve the muscle's capabilities.
Our direction in our research is actually to gain control of this material and actually to let the robot control this material, because we want to be out of the loop. In this case, no one expects me to sit and turn on and turn off this material.
And while the material is little more than a month old, industry has already come knocking at the door of the Creative Machines Lab to ask about it. Miriev says there's been interest from clothing companies, the automotive industry, and medical device developers.
This is just a basic material that allows you a high strain and high stress all in one, very cheap. It's 3 cents per gram lab cost. Can be prepared by untrained people. Any training will take less than 30 minutes.
And while Dr. Lipson and Dr. Miriev agree it's still a bit too early to know how exactly this smart material will be put to use, this video from Columbia Engineering's Instagram feed offers a glimpse of what the future of the artificial muscle could hold. I'm Andrew Falzon for Science and You.
New York City has a new resident, a neighbor you might not expect. Turns out there are coyotes living within the 5 boroughs, and they've been here for decades. The Gotham Coyote Project, a collaboration of universities, museums, and research stations, has been tracking migration patterns. Here's what they found.
They've been expanding their range from probably the early 1900s, maybe even the 19th century. They were in the Great Plains. They were just located there, and the wolf was their main competitor. Once we extirpated the wolf, we pushed out the gray wolf to places like Canada. It wasn't in the United States, and so it wasn't competing with the coyote population, and it wasn't keeping them just in those Great Plains states.
Carol Hinger is a PhD student in biology at Fordham University and something of an expert on the eastern coyote. She's been studying them for the past 4 years. She explains though New York City may not seem like an obvious home for coyotes, it is. But how did they get here?
In addition to not having the wolf as a competitor, we've also done a lot of changing the way the land is used. We've cut down a lot of forests to use for agriculture, and the coyotes love that. It's a great place for them to live. They thrive in that kind of agricultural landscape, like the plains landscape.
So that removal of all their competitors and the kind of restoration of some sort of habitat allowed the coyote to kind of spread. And so they spread east, but actually what initially happened is rather than going straight east across the Ohio, Pennsylvania, so forth, they actually went up around the Great Lakes and then down.
Christopher Nagy is another member of the Gotham Coyote Project. His affiliation comes through the Mianus River Gorge, and like Hinger, he's focused on learning as much as possible about the species. As coyotes move into urban areas like New York City, it's important to understand whether humans and coyotes can coexist in a changing ecosystem.
The Gorge and the Gotham Coyote Project looks at this like kind of a fortunate thing in many ways. There are lots of problems, especially outside of super urban areas, but urban areas too, such as super abundant deer, overabundant small mammals in many cases that then lead to Lyme disease and other things. But top predators are a necessary part of a food web and an ecosystem.
And coyotes are at the top of the food chain. Here in New York City, they're primarily found in parks in the Bronx. Biologists and ecologists are learning more by studying what they leave behind, scat.
Scat is the fecal material that the coyotes and any other animal deposits. I use that to extract DNA. When that scat is found by my collaborators, the Gotham Coyote Project members, they give it to me, and then I shave off the outside of the scat because that's where the skin cells are. Then I put those in a tube and I add different reagents to them, and I'm able to extract it.
Those scat samples offer a wealth of information, providing scientists with details on how many different types of coyotes live in the city and whether they're related to each other.
I also see that across parks, they're related to each other, which means that they probably settled in one park, probably Pelham Bay, and then made their way to the other parks. I can also see how individuals are moving by seeing how many times and where we find the same scat from the same individual. I can see how it's moving through the city.
One thing scientists have noticed about these coyotes, they are slightly larger than the typical coyote out west. A deeper look into their genetics lets us in on a little secret. Turns out they're not purebred coyote, but actually have some DNA from wolves and dogs.
And so people did research, and sure enough, no, they interbred with wolves at some point in their background. So that's what leads to the larger size.
Nagy and Henger both explain that because of the crossbreeding between coyotes and wolves, dog DNA also got mixed in by piggybacking off of the wolf DNA. The reason that this combination of DNA doesn't lead to sterilization like it would in a mule is because these three species are so similar genetically.
Even without hybridizing, the molecular markers I use were developed from the dog genome. So they're just very similar genetically. And that's probably why hybrids don't really change it into a different animal. So it doesn't, because they share a lot of the same genes anyway.
Even though we're seeing a larger coyote in the Bronx and even parts of northern Queens now, there's no need to worry about overpopulation due to the coyote's adaptability.
Most predators are not going to become overpopulated because they're so reliant on kind of hard to get food that their food supply, if that ever goes down, they quickly go down, or they just leave.
Coyotes are interesting in that they can change their birthing rate following the amount of resources that are available in their environment. So in populations where they are hunted and their populations decline drastically, coyotes are able to have over 10 or 15 pups in one litter. And so their birthing rate tends to correspond to the amount of resources available. So when they hit that upper limit, they'll have less pups. And so they regulate their populations that way.
And joining us now from California is Javier Manzo, an assistant professor at biology at Pepperdine University and an expert on coyotes. Thanks so much for being with us.
Sure, thank you for having me.
So Javier, I am really fascinated by this topic. I have seen coyotes outside our yard where we live. And it's always surprising to me. I think it's surprising to a lot of people in New York City, and also maybe concerning. Is it something that we need to be worried about?
No, I think it's something that we need to appreciate, that we have wildlife that is successfully thriving in New York City and other urban areas.
Are there any benefits to having them here in New York City?
Yes, coyotes in New York serve as one of the top predators in their ecological community, and as such, they play an important and beneficial role. In New York City, what we have is an overpopulation of rats.
Well, that's the
In
truth.
some suburbs and some rural areas of New York State, we have an overpopulation of deer. And whether eastern coyotes can help control or reduce those super abundant animals is a question that is being investigated right now.
So let's talk a little bit more about the eastern coyote specifically. We know that it is a little bit different than a pure coyote. Can you tell us how? There's apparently some DNA from the wolf and the domestic dog in there. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. The eastern coyote is a geographic variety of the typical coyote. However, it is not the scrawny type of coyote that I grew up watching in the cartoons.
Right, right.
The eastern coyotes are formidable predators that are capable of killing adult deer or moose. And part of that is because their genetic ancestry is derived from wolves, from coyotes, and from dogs.
So how does that affect the way that they might interact with human beings, or does it not?
That remains unknown. For the most part, these animals like to be left alone. Even though they are in these mega cities, they still are very elusive, and very few people actually catch a glimpse of them.
So even though they have this larger size, as you were mentioning, that doesn't necessarily mean they are more aggressive?
That's right. In fact, coyote attacks on humans are extremely rare events. When they happen, it happens mostly in California with the smaller coyote. The coyote in the eastern United States, even though it's larger, tends to interact less with people.
And what about the dogs, pets that people might have? Are those something that we should be aware of? Concern there?
Yes, especially if they are on the smaller size.
Yeah.
So if I would caution owners of small pets to keep their pets inside and keep food inside or other things that may attract wildlife.
Let's talk a little bit about where the eastern coyote likes to hang out in New York City. What kind of environment do they prefer? I mean, it's surprising to me that they like New York City at all to begin with.
Well, primarily they are in the Bronx. So eastern coyotes have been moving eastward and southward across New York State. They arrived in Westchester in the Bronx in the 1990s. And they have been unable to penetrate the dense urban matrix of Manhattan and Queens and the southern Bronx.
And is there any, do you know any, is there a particular reason why?
Well, there's very little green space in those areas, and the few coyotes that have made it into Central Park and other parks in Manhattan have been deliberately removed.
Oh, okay.
It was only until last year that my colleagues in Gotham Coyote Project found the first record of a den with pups in Long Island. And this was significant because there is no fossil record of coyotes ever existing on Long Island.
Wow.
So these may have been the very first wild coyotes born on Long Island ever.
That's just amazing to even think about. You know, there's been some debate about how to classify these animals. I know the term coy wolf has been talked about. What's your take on all that?
Okay, the eastern coyote is a really cool example of evolution happening right in front of us. But it is an example of evolution, not of speciation, which is the birth of a new species.
Okay, can you explain the difference a little more? Yeah.
Sure. Well, not every evolutionary change needs to result in a new species. Sometimes a species just changes, but doesn't become so different from the original one that it warrants calling it a different species.
I see. And that's what you're saying the case is here.
That's right. So the eastern coyote is a geographic variety of the western coyote. Kind of similar to how the Florida panther is a variety of the cougar or mountain lion that is elsewhere in North and South America.
Well, that is fascinating stuff. Thank you so much for joining us, Javier. It was a real pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
On this day in science, January 3rd, 1970, a meteorite was captured soaring across the northeastern Oklahoma sky by the Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory's Prairie Network. Using trajectory calculations, scientists were able to estimate the possible landing zone of the meteorite to just under a half-mile near an area called Lost City, Oklahoma. This meteorite was found a few days later and would be forever known as the Lost City meteorite. Back in October, President Donald Trump declared the opioid crisis a national health emergency. With widespread use of opioid-based drugs like morphine in the medical industry, some people are now turning to alternative pain treatments, including an extract from marijuana called CBD. Lisa Beth Kovetz has that story.
New York State has some of the most restrictive laws regarding the production and sale of medical marijuana.
Everything that goes into our products, into our plants as they're growing is medical grade, and we make sure we don't use any pesticides, we don't use any fungicides, and every process throughout the step is medical quality. The benefit to that means you have a lot of consumer protection and a very high quality product for patients, which is really lacking in the rest of the industry.
In New York State, medical marijuana is only offered as an oil, and that oil is only extracted from the female cannabis plant because, turns out, there are male and female cannabis plants. A male plant is called hemp, and only the female cannabis plant, scientifically speaking, is considered marijuana. And within the marijuana plant, the molecules that matter under the law are called THC and CBD.
Both hemp and marijuana have THC and CBD. THC is what's regulated at a federal level, and that's what's illegal.
The difference between CBD and THC molecules is small, but significant.
It's just a little change in the molecular structure of the cannabinoids. THC has a closed ring, whereas CBD has an open ring. So that has different effects in the body.
These effects were first discovered in 1988 when Alan Howlett and William Devane discovered that the human brain had more cannabinoid receptors than any other neurotransmitter receptor, opening the door for other scientists to map the human cannabinoid system.
The endocannabinoid system consists of two receptors, the CB1 and the CB2 receptor. So CB1 receptor is located in our brain and our central nervous system, and CB2 receptors are located in the peripheral tissues of our body and our immune cells. So THC affects the CB1 receptors, and that's why you get the psychoactive effect, because it's affecting your central nervous system in the brain. So you would say it causes a high. CBD has an anti-inflammatory effect, also an antioxidant effect, so it helps patients with muscle spasms and inflammation.
CBD oil targets inflammation, but not just any inflammation.
We don't mean just joints, we mean like actual cells, actual organs of your body, your physiological tissues. If they're inflamed, that can lead to disease over a period of time. So CBD not only works for your aches and pains, but it helps to keep your body in a state of good functionality. And that's what cannabis does. It keeps your body in a state of homeostasis, which means it keeps your body functioning at the level that it should. And does that mean disease-free? Yeah, I think it does.
New York State's medical marijuana law is nicknamed the Compassionate Care Act because it targets patients in pain.
Pain interrupts your life.
A series of sports injuries threatened to sideline New York City math teacher David Boone.
Typically, when a spasm hits, I'm ready to hit the floor. Once I take it, it starts from the head down. All the receptors are hit. the body absorbs it, and you can just feel that whole relaxation piece, you know, and once it's in your system, it continues to work for you.
CBD oil does contain trace amounts of THC, but it has none of the psychoactive reactions. That means you feel better, but you don't get high on CBD oil. A patient remains clear and focused.
In my job, clarity is, you need that 100%. Clarity is important because I'm dealing with young adults. These are not kids out here. New York is oh my God. New York is just unimaginable, the things that they go through. And so you gotta be able to think on the fly. These kids hit you with everything, boom, bam, and you gotta be able to think in the moment, because if not, you'll lose your classroom.
Medical marijuana is not an easy business to be in. You're not allowed any business deductions. Banks will not take your deposits. Make any mistake, and you're a felon. So why be in this business?
It was my mom's idea to try and apply for one of these licenses, and the reason why I got behind her in this mission is because I personally had a failed hip surgery, so I lost the use of my right leg for 2 years and got put on opioids and like accelerants, so like Adderall and Percocet is what all that doctors would try and prescribe for me. For me, it would have been really helpful if I had had an alternative that gave me a quality of life that like took away my pain but didn't make it difficult to focus or concentrate.
Ever since it was introduced to me, I've been using it, and I'm trying to tell everybody else about it, because it's something that you rather have and not need it than need it and not have it. That's just how it works.
What do you most want people to know about what you do?
On a personal level,
Absolutely.
it is very rewarding to be in the place that I am, because patients come back and tell me how well they're doing. So as much of a skeptic I can be sometimes when it comes to medical marijuana, I am not. I'm a believer.
This has been Lisa Beth Kovetz for Science and You.
We've all heard about ultra-hip hotspots popping up in Brooklyn. Now some residents are getting on the grid in a new trend that could revolutionize the way we get our energy. Mike Gilliam has more.
Brooklyn Microgrid is a network of local energy producers and consumers. Originated in Park Slope, Gowanus, and Borum Hill, but we're currently expanding into different neighborhoods in Brooklyn.
Elena Adcock is the organization's outreach manager. She explains how Brooklyn Microgrid got itself started just a few years ago.
Brooklyn Microgrid began actually in 2015 with about 10 participants on President Street. There were, I'd say, 6 people who already had solar panels, and then we had about 3 who were interested in purchasing that excess green energy but didn't have solar panels themselves. So it kind of began as a sandbox experiment with 2 neighbors who are literally across the street from each other. One had solar panels and one did not. And so he wanted to purchase the excess energy from his neighbor. So that was actually the very first sort of transaction, so to speak, for the Brooklyn Microgrid.
One of those members who generates green power is Patrick Schnell, who had solar panels for 3 or 4 years before joining the group.
The idea behind this is to have an independent energy system that would actually function even in cases where the regular grid might be affected by some issue.
We have community members that are prosumers, meaning they are producing energy, producing clean green energy with their solar panels primarily, that they can then feed into the microgrid for their neighbors who would be the consumers to purchase. So everybody can be sort of producing locally generated, highly clean, very renewable energy.
And thanks to a newly released app, these consumers will be able to purchase energy from their neighbors and create their own energy preferences, taking from 3 different sources: local green, like solar panels; regional green, like Clean Choice Energy, which generates renewable energy for various states in the Northeast; and what they call regional brown energy, your typical fossil fuel burning energy.
So you can register yourself as a prosumer or a consumer. You can set your energy preferences to what type of energy you want to be consuming and how much of each you would like to be consuming. You can set your preference for how much you want to be spending daily, and it can sort of calculate a mix of those 3 types of energy, or you can set which types you want to consume and which you absolutely don't. So it sort of allows you to personalize your energy preferences, essentially. And then it also incorporates something called negawatts, which is where, given a certain set of circumstances within the network, you can be paid essentially to turn off your electricity.
Prosumers will also get high-tech meters developed by the parent company of Brooklyn Microgrid, LO3 Energy.
The meters are what calculate your solar output. They also calculate how much energy your house is consuming. So if and when you're producing an excess of energy, it's calculating exactly how much when you're putting it back onto the grid. And that will connect you to every other prosumer in the network so that data can be communicated.
Yeah, I'm basically not paying for any electricity because all the electricity I'm using is produced with the help of my solar panels.
But does it outweigh the initial investment in the panels?
Yeah, it's getting close. I've had the panels for almost 6 years now, and I think they're close to being paid off. So, over the next decades, I'm certainly saving a lot of money.
In addition to saving money, microgrid members may also be saved from blackouts. Superstorm Sandy comes to mind. In this case, Brooklyn Microgrid is looking to harden its infrastructure to protect it against storms and other power outages.
So what a physical microgrid can do is it essentially can section off from the larger grid, from the larger electrical grid, so that when the main grid goes down, the microgrid is still active and can still provide energy to a few select locations like hospitals, a grocery store, a community center where people can go and be safe and relocate and charge their phone.
Adcock says some established utilities have pushed back against what they're doing, but integrating all of the renewable energy that's being produced is something they all must eventually address. Advocates say they hope all of this will be an incentive for people to buy into solar.
It is critical that we as citizens really become active and do things that the government is no longer doing, or especially in this administration. So we really need to be active and take steps towards reducing the impact of fossil resources on the planet and take steps towards reducing climate change, essentially.
The idea of negawatts and implementing that as sort of an awareness for people will hopefully just make people sort of think a little bit more about how much energy they use on a day-to-day basis and the things that they use that are maybe not necessary or excessive, and sort of incentivizing people to turn off their appliances and to even get a fiscal reward for doing so is sort of, I hope, going to change people's way of thinking about energy.
For Science and You, I'm Mike Gilliam.
And that's our show for today. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Anne Riddell. We'll see you next time on Science and You.